Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the world. And welcome to the Mind Massage. So I'm your host, Hasina Patel, if you don't know me, with Dr. Tom Acklin. And this is a conscious conversation based on mind, body, and spirit. And it's something that we need to do in these times, go into these leading edge conversations about asking why and how we perceive things and why we perceive them that way. So the theme today is called the disconnect with an acronym for the D.I.S. Tom, thoughts?
We played with deepest intention sidelined versus deepest intention sparked. And who I am is usually almost unrecognizable to me, right? As we walk through our day, we pretty much do the same thing yesterday. And even the stuff we say we're committed to, we tend to forget. It's buried. What if we could have our deepest intention right there, right at the ready? Right? That's deepest intention sparked. And we get glimpses of it through the day as we remember, if we're lucky enough, here and there in the middle of our doings, where that gets sidelined, deepest intention sidelined realistically is 99% of what we do. We're not present to who we are and what we know. And so we're going to play today with the idea of investing trust in other people, investing the capacity in other people to receive us. Yeah. What if we could walk through our day knowing that we were perfectly received, perfectly understood, that our deepest intention actually could not only be sparked, but flamed, and we carry a certain contagiousness about us as we're raging in our sweet spot, in our pilot light.
I love that analogy. And what came to me as you were saying that is that for most of our day, we're doing the things that seem important to us. We have a to-do list and we're going through our day and going through what we have to do and what's important, what will make a difference. And yet, in that time that we're taking this action, doing all the tasks, 1 through 10, most of the time we are disconnected. We're not connected to other people, not even connected to ourselves. So here we are telling ourselves this is important. But in the doing of that, just getting through the day from task to task to task, we're actually disconnected from who we are. How many times, viewers, if you're wanting to see, is this the case in my life? How many times do you actually go to your mirror or go to the bathroom mirror at work and just look at yourself, even for 30 seconds? Or how many times do you maybe put your hand over your heart or put your fingers on your pulse and just feel your pulse, feel your heartbeat, or just take notice of your breath? And for me, the answer would be, okay, now I do that, I am conscious of it, but most days, no, it just goes by and you look at the time and it's 4 PM and you think, but I just woke up, right?
And we're not so good at reminding ourselves, what if we would walk through the day with 100% faith and trust in the idea that the people around us would always be reminding us of our deepest intention, right? And then it would be sparked, as is so often the case when we walk through our days and we forget and we get into the routine of things, we would be sparked and sparked and sparked and sparked. I saw a great speaker open his talk last week with a suggestion to the audience, the convention center to which he was speaking. He came out on stage and big applause and everybody expected him to start talking. And he said, I'd like to invite everybody to turn and greet the person next to you and introduce yourself as a genius. And there was this dramatic pause and he said, let's go. And then the crowd went all to Twitter. So, hello, I am a genius.
Love that. Hello, I am a genius.
Outstanding. It's nice to meet you, genius.
Nice to meet you too, fellow genius. And
Fellow stalker.
Yep. Let's invite everyone else, wherever you are right now. If you're listening to this, if you're watching this, introduce yourself as a genius. And it doesn't have to be in real time introducing yourself to someone, although it could be. I mean, why not? We all have our own genius, and we can be connected to that genius.
And if there's not a biped around to listen, introduce yourself to a four-legged creature or introduce yourself to the mirror.
Or a tree.
Hello, nice to see you. I'm a genius.
Yes. And I think, what if we were to make our deepest intention? Here's a call to action. What was your deepest intention today? Did you set one? So if you haven't set a deepest intention, why not set one right now? The deepest intention is to know that your disconnect could be your deepest intention sparked by every being that you come into contact with. So you come into contact with the butterfly outside, and let it spark your deepest intention. Come into contact with your family, and that one seems hard for a lot of people, but it's possible. Why not let them spark your deepest intention? So you can have two sides of the spectrum. The one can be, it's a choice. The one can be deepest intention sidelined, like Tom said, right? And the other side is deepest intention sparked. Which way are you going to go? You're still going through the same experience. Which way are you going to go? It's a choice. And even if you're going through an experience which you don't like in that moment, just know that that tells you what you do like. That tells you what your deepest intention is not, so that you know what it is. We can move from one end of the spectrum to the other just through knowing what we don't want.
That's brilliant. And in fact, it's impossible not to. If we're truly looking at the quantum physics of the field of the thing, we're always creation and destruction at the same time. We're always what we would call connection and disconnection at the same time. And it's a perspective. I, as ego in connection, I believe I'm going forward as something else, as the inner being of me, which is the unego, right? Being disconnected, deepest intention sparked. Being disconnected from me actually means I get to surrender and become something. So the creation destruction dynamic is simply a perspective, and there's a lot of freedom in that. Am I being received fully? Do I get to disconnect from what I thought was important, or do I get to disconnect from the higher being of me, which knows pretty much nothing's important, right? If I really couldn't disconnect from that, then all of a sudden I get some traction in the real world. It's a little bit of an esoteric concept, but where we get to walk in faith, where we get to walk in this idea that I have trust that I will be received, hopefully in ways that are surprising to me. Then all of a sudden life gets to be this adventure. We're tripping through Disney World.
Yes, that's staying on your journey, being in the journey, as opposed to being in the outcome, being so invested in the outcome, just being invested in who you are, and you're letting your journey unfold and just allowing that outcome to manifest. Because once we detach ourselves from from controlling what we think the outcome is, once we just able to detach from that, we're able to then say, okay, I can be connected to my journey more. because my energy is not divided. I'm not trying to manipulate and create certain outcome. I'm just connected to who I am and what I'm bringing forth in the world. So
it's such a great feeling of relief. I think we all know that sense of there's nothing to do, literally, right? Very rarely do our days look like there's nothing to do. But if we could just take a deep breath and if we just for a moment, everybody just take a nice deep breath. What if that is the sufficiency? What if that is the abundant state? And just for a spark of a moment, that deepest intention is literally to divest ourselves of need. And then all of a sudden we come on back as we pop our eyes open, take another deep breath and look around and you say, oh, planet is still here. And then there's something to invest in. And the illusion compels us to take action, of course. And we're probably not going to. We're probably not going to not take action, right? We all walk through our days with whatever habits that we're skilled in / addicted to. And maybe that same sense of greeting, I am a genius, that's a something, right? That's a hi, I am. What if with that same enthusiasm, we could literally turn to each other and say, hello, I am in need of nothing, something like that. I can't put words to it because the words themselves get in the way. But what would it be like to greet somebody without actually having to say anything or prove anything or show a document, right?
yeah, just not being attached to any part of who you are, and just to be able to come with your energy into that space, into that moment. Your analogy with the breath was so brilliant, because as I was breathing in, I suddenly thought, oh, we're talking about being on the journey. Like if you focused on the journey, you're focused on that inhale right in that moment. You're not focused on the exhale. If you inhale enough, the exhale has to happen. That's just how it works. And why not just be focused on that inhale in that moment, knowing that the exhale has to happen? Or we're focused on the exhale, knowing that in that next moment, the inhale is going to happen. Because
and
that's
to
how
fully divest ourselves of ego and sense of self and individual identity. The exhale itself is inside the construct of that creation destruction. So it's a yin yang, and it appears as if Tom is breathing in, but to the universe or somebody else's perspective, I'm stealing their air. So that is the exhale and the extraction. Yeah. And so we can put ourselves in that space of being on the fine line of the veneer, the interface between creation and destruction.
Yes, it's a leading edge. The creation is in the destruction, in everything in nature. If we take a butterfly, even that analogy, when the caterpillar becomes disconnected from being a caterpillar, and it my biology, someone is going to really laugh at this, but it gets into the state of being a pupa, and then out of it emerges this butterfly, and at each stage it has to be just separate, or rather disconnected, not attached, unattached to the outcome of the next state. And then as it does that, it connects to the next state. And so the flow of life continues, and it's in the destruction of the caterpillar that the butterfly emerges, it's
a beautiful analogy, and it's really the way the mystics used to talk about ecstasy states. Ecstasy states were transcendent and in a space where We literally, deepest intention sidelined, always, right? Deepest intention sidelined is the disconnect, which is the blessed communion with the divine, with that presence. And then all of a sudden, deepest intention, which is the thing that I wasn't aware of as the guy walking through my life, deepest intention sparked because I allowed the divine to say hello and greet me as a genius.
Wow. If you're watching this on the replay, then you should definitely just rewind and listen to that again. I'm definitely going to do that. There's so much to take in there. I'm connecting with divinity, connecting with one's own divinity. And here's the question: when connecting to others or connecting even to self, what may I bring? What may I bring? And maybe the real answer is that we don't have to bring anything. Who we are just automatically enters that space of conversation, enters that space of, we were saying, communion, whether it's with self in the mirror, whether it's with divinity within, or whether it's with those who make up the oneness in our world, whether it's other human beings, other just beings in our world.
Beautiful.
And we'll leave you with that. But ask yourself, what may I bring when connecting? Is it going to, and are you going to be in the space of deepest intention sparked or deepest intention sidelined? There is no right or wrong.
And thank you, everybody, for allowing people in your world today to be the genius and be received by you.
Yeah. You are a genius.
Yes, you are.
Bye, everyone. Have a beautiful weekend.